For 60 years, the Mercedes-Benz SL has set the benchmark for what we expect a sports tourer to be. Now, for 2016, with a host of new technology, has Mercedes-Benz raised that benchmark even higher for their most iconic sports car? So what's changed? Well, you've got these new projector LED headlights, which are very similar to that on the S-Class Coupe and convertible. The grille, again with the diamond inlays, very reminiscent again of the S-Class and of course the AMG GT sports car. To the bonnet, you've got the double-domed hood, which harks back to the original SL Roadster of 1957. And of course, under the bonnet, in both the 400 and this car, the 500, power is up. The twin-turbo V8 up to 335 kilowatts. At the back of the car, you've got these full red tail lamps. The Vario roof system has been adjusted so that it can operate while the car is in the move. And the luggage cover now motorises by itself, making it easier to get your bits and pieces in and out, particularly for weekends away. Now, the interior is largely unchanged. There's still a suite of luxurious materials and appointments. There's an update to the command system, but basically this is still an older generation car. The originals came out in 2012. The biggest change for this 2016 SL Roadster is under the skin. So let's take it for a drive and find out where. Now, before we get into too much detail, I'll preface everything by saying the location for the launch of the 2016 SL in Southern California has been the perfect environment to put this Grand Tourer to the test. Now, keen viewers may notice that I'm in a different car than what I just rolled off into the sunset in. That's because this car here, still an SL500, is fitted with Mercedes-Benz's new Curve function, a first for 2016. Curve is one of the 5 configurable driving modes that allows the car to adjust the way it handles through corners, with comfort being a priority. When you tip the car in, instead of leaning in as it tends to in a more sporting environment, it adjusts the car to the opposite camber of the corner to basically flatten things out. And you find that as an occupant of the car, the feeling going around a corner is substantially reduced, which results in, yes, a less sporting, but a far more relaxing and comfortable drive. Now, we're in an SL500, which has got the 4.7 litre twin-turbo V8 with 335 kilowatts and 700 newton meters of torque. Now, this is a fantastic engine. You don't want for any more power. You don't find at any stage that the car runs out of legs, particularly on a nice open country tour like this. The beauty, though, is paired with the new 9-speed automatic transmission. When cruising around, the car can relax into one of its higher gears for a much more economical driving mode, and we've been seeing 11.9 litres per 100 out of the big V8, which is pretty impressive for a car like this. And I will say, bear with me if you find any wind noise coming through the audio, because on a beautiful Southern California winter's day, you've got to drive with the top down in a car like this. You can see that we've got windows up and the wind deflector deployed, which makes the cabin still quite airy, certainly on your hair, but very quiet, comfortable, and you don't feel that you're being brushed around a lot, even on a long tour at pretty high cruising speeds. Now, changes to the Vario roof this year include the ability to fold while the car is in motion. Mercedes-Benz marketing makes you feel that you can do this at any speed up to 40 kilometers an hour, but it's not quite correct. You can trigger the system while the car is halted, but then move off and let the roof finish its movement. So it's perfect if you need to go roof up or roof down when you stop at traffic lights and the light suddenly goes green. Now, if you do want a little bit more comfort, you can fold the top, and it seals so well that we measured sound at around 70 decibels, which is around the same as what we got out of a Jaguar XE. Now, if you do want a more engaging ride, you can drop the SL out of Curve mode into either Sport or Sport Plus for a much more engaging drive. So in Sports Plus driving mode, throttle mapping's improved, and you can use the aluminium shifters on the steering column to change gears on the lovely 9-speed automatic. And I tell you what, it's a fun car to punt around. You forget how big it is and how luxury oriented it is as it manages to link these turns together, and it absolutely feels well within its comfort zone at perhaps a little bit above the posted recommended limit. It might be a big Grand Tourer, but I tell you what, the lightness and the ability to tip into a corner and certainly power out, the SL never disappoints. Now, Mercedes-Benz, obviously with their focus on technology, the 2016 update to the SL has seen a refreshed software update on the command interface. Still not a perfect system, not quite as good as BMW's iDrive, but look, it does work and it is there, and you do forget its foibles. We've had a few issues with iPod connectivity. All Australian model cars will receive Apple CarPlay. This one doesn't have it, so we haven't been able to put that to the test. But even something as simple as connecting up an iPhone to play music has confused the system somewhat. That said, it's a small gripe for what is overall a pretty impressive car. Now, being a slightly older model, the R231 came out in 2012, the 2016 SL doesn't benefit from the more modern updates that we've seen in the S-Class and new E-Class of the twin LCD extended dash and a lot more modern ergonomic feel. And in fact, the ergonomics themselves are a little bit flawed in this car. To reach some of the buttons here on the console, which are your driving modes and transmission and suspension settings, you sort of have to dislocate your elbow to lean back or even reach across from your other hand to get them, which, while on the move, can be a bit, well, confusing and cumbersome. But let's face it, at its core, the SL, it is a Grand Tourer. It is the Grand Tourer. It's probably the most Mercedes of Mercedes out there, and in that aspect, it doesn't disappoint. At low cruising speeds on the freeway, as we came into town last night, in dusk, there's no better place to be. You can see the appeal of the SL. It may still now be a niche model, particularly with only 2 seats where most of its competitors have 4, but there's always going to be a place for the SL. And it may not be perfect, but on that right drive, in the right weather, you forget about all the flaws. Now, while final pricing has yet to be firmed up, the current $312,000 asking price for the SL500 is expected to drop below the key $300,000 mark, which will make the 2016 SL the most affordable in over a decade. Pretty impressive feat, given the range of technology and just that overall premium driving feel that Mercedes' impressive sports tourer has to offer. Now, of course, this is the 500. This is the volume seller. Up from here is, of course, the AMG SL63 with a slightly more explosive and adventurous V8 engine. We're going to jump in that and have a little bit of fun. Now, the other end of the scale from the SL400, of course, is the SL63, which I've taken for a short blast now. Now, what this gives you takes away a lot of the comfort-focused features of the 400 and 500. It gives you a far more, I guess, pointy sports machine, whilst still being a relaxing SL tourer. But you get that noise and a hell of a lot more response out of the 5.5 litre twin-turbo V8. We're in Sport Plus at the moment, because why not? And honestly, there is not a problem anywhere with this car. It handles the bumps, it handles the roads. You don't get the fancy curve function, but with the ABC, active body control, the car adapts to suit the situation that it needs to give you not only a comfortable ride, but a very responsive one. And of course, the throttle response, when you bury your foot, is unlike nothing else. Well, 60 years in, the SL is still the iconic Mercedes tourer. And despite, well, perhaps sitting in a class of its own and sport light making way for sport luxury, with a new look, better power, better refinement and some impressive technology, the 2016 Mercedes-Benz SL is still one of the world's best Grand Tourers.